I spent so much time fighting, that I didn't know how to be held or how to hold. I had to do a lot of fighting. And now I think I know how to love and be loved. I think it was like the crime scene and the detective. So I had to find out why I'd lost my mother and father and sisters and brothers, and why I didn't speak Amharic, why I didn't meet any people of colour. I had to find out. Why was I alone on my birthday? At 18 years of age, why was I alone at Christmas? Man, I had to find out. Every story of a child stolen from their culture is unique to that child, you know. They don't have to look at me and think, oh yeah, my story's like Lemn's, because their story is, you know, also, it's unique. My advice would be that if you are searching for your identity, that is your identity. My name is why, Lemn. So I'm searching for my identity, and that's who I am.
Have a rare occasion to be able to sit with Lemn Sissay here while he came here to do presentation at Brown University. And Lemn, it's an honor to have you on the Yoftahe Show.
It's good to be here.
Your stories, so many of us Ethiopians have been inspired. No, so I'm not going to go deep. But the question will be, so many things that you said that really inspired me is you were Norman until 17. And then on 17, you found out your birth certificate and you became Lemn Sissay. So if you can tell us the difference between Norm and Lemn Sissay.
Okay, I'm the same person. Exactly the same person. The only thing that happened is the government changed my name illegally, but I've always been Lemn Sissay. I just didn't know it. So there is no difference really. I'm the same person. I know things about myself that I did not know before. So I know that I am Ethiopian. I know who my father is. I know who my mother is, and my sisters and my brothers. I know where they're from. And I didn't know that before. So I feel blessed.
I like that, being blessed. So until you were 12, technically you had a family. You lived with a family, you had a name, you went to school, you had brothers and sisters. And all of a sudden at 12, you lost everybody from your neighbors, your parents, your brothers. What does that moment felt like? Or for someone who's going through that right now, what message do you have?
I must say that as a child, I was stolen from my mother just as a baby when she came to England. Then I was fostered by a family, an English family. They held me for 12 years, and then they put me into children's homes. But when I was a child, they told me that my mother was a bad woman who would not let go of me. It was all lies. Yeah, so I stayed with them. I thought they were my mother and father. But they weren't. And they put me into children's homes when I was 12, and they kept me, I was held there till I was 18, and then they let go of me. Yeah. I've made radio documentaries and television documentaries and written books about it, you know, so that the story would be solid.
I love the way you said it, because at one of your interviews you said the way you did it, you just didn't want to come and say, this is me or I'm being stolen. You wanted to find documentation. You wanted to fight to do the research. what does research look like? Trying to find the documents, putting those stories together, and rediscovering yourself, things that you didn't know about yourself.
I always knew myself. I may have been lost, but I always knew that somebody had done something wrong to me, and that I had to find the evidence. I was like the crime scene and the detective. So I had to find out why I'd lost my mother and father and sisters and brothers, and why I didn't speak Amharic, why I didn't meet any people of colour. I had to find out. Why was I alone on my birthday? At 18 years of age, why was I alone at Christmas? Man, I had to find out. I grew up in a very small village in Lancashire, in the north of England, but I had to find out. From there I went all over the country as a writer and a poet, performing my poetry in different parts of the world, and I carried my story with me, made it my mission.
Through that process, there are some college kids, people who may have had exactly the same kind of story like yours.
Nobody's had the same story as me. I'll tell you, everybody's story is unique. I mean, everybody's. I know there are lots of adopted children from Ethiopia who end up in the different parts of the world and have their names changed as well, etc., etc. But every story is unique. Every story of a child stolen from their culture is unique to that child. You know, they don't have to look at me and think, "Oh yeah, my story's like Lem's," because their story is, you know, also it's unique to them. And that's really important to me. Every family that you go into, like I found my family now, and every family is unique as well.
You've written about it, but how did you find your voice to be able to tell the story, or is this how you wanted to tell your story?
I write poetry, so it's because of writing poetry that allowed me to explore my voice, I guess. I guess I just needed a place to express myself.
So, similar question with it. Some people, like you said, different. Every story is different.
Yeah.
But there are some people who might be lost in trying to rediscover themselves, or try to be seen, or try to be found. What advice would you have for people who don't know really their identity, or trying to find themselves through this process? What advice?
I think part of my advice would be that if you are searching for your identity, that is your identity. My name is Y, Lemn. So I'm searching for my identity, and that's who I am. I'm the kind of person who cannot settle for less. I need to know who I am, where I'm from, where I belong, why I'm here. And when you're asking those questions of yourself and it makes you angry or sad or lonely, well, that is your identity. That's who you are. You're the kind of person who asks those questions. And you know, maybe you ask those questions through the camera. You know, maybe you ask those questions through poetry. Maybe you ask those questions through being a hairdresser, or being a sports person, or being a lawyer, or a doctor, or a street sweeper. You know, the act of asking tells me a lot about your identity. You know, I was searching for my family, so you could say I was searching for my identity. But the biggest thing I found, most of all, is myself. I was always there, waiting to be found, waiting to be accepted. Does that make sense? You know, to ultimately be able to accept yourself, that's finding yourself. That is identity. And And that's, everybody has that journey. You know, to be, I don't mean to be satisfied with yourself, I just mean to accept yourself with all of your failings. And because when you're searching for other people, and when you're fighting a system, it's as if everybody else is wrong and you're right all the time. I think that when you find yourself, you realise that you can be flawed just like anybody else. How do you accept that? You know? And I think that's the biggest thing for me in my identity, is being able to accept that. You know, yeah, it's okay to not be okay.
Is there an aha moment or a moment where you said, I found myself?
No, there is no moment. No. The best moment that I realised I found myself is when I could have friends and love my friends and be loved by my friends. That's the best thing. Because I spent so much time fighting, that I didn't know how to be held or how to hold. You know. I had to do a lot of fighting. And now I think I know how to love and be loved. I think.
What is that? What is being loved and loved?
It means that if you're loved, you don't push away from it, because it's not something you know, and it feels like somebody's invading a space which you don't understand. And now I feel like welcoming people in. I feel welcome, and I feel welcomed. And I like that.
Where's your place in the world?
Oh, it's in my heart, man. I mean, I take my heart everywhere. I've spent all my life travelling as an artist and writer and all over the world, writing books and reading and speaking and meeting to people and performing on stages and, you know, and also finding my family and, you know, been to everywhere, Harvard, Boston, Seattle, Washington, New York, Ethiopia, Senegal, Paris. My family are in all those places, and I've actually performed in all of those places as well as an artist. Yeah, man, I feel, I don't know, lucky really.
Is there a moment from trauma to healing? Is there a process or is there a journey?
Okay. I did stop doing things that harmed me. Tried to stop doing things that harmed me. Stopped drinking alcohol, just for me. I mean, my friends drink. Therapy. Did a bit of therapy.
So how do you feel connected to the Ethiopian culture, to the Ethiopian people? I know I heard you say wherever you travel, that's where your family is, and when you get to connect with them. So what does that mean, finding your family? What does that mean, being connected?
Well, it's like a constant state of learning, right? I can't speak Amharic, for example, so, but I like to be around the language, and I like to be around the Ethiopic languages. I don't need to understand it, I just like it around me. Yeah, so, you know, I'm an outsider on the inside, you know. I'm an insider on the outside, you know. That's an experience many of us have, regardless, you know. I am diaspora now, obviously, because I didn't grow up in Ethiopia, but I'm first generation Ethiopian also. So, you know, it's a complex kind of mix of things which leads me to try to learn to be confident with what I don't know, and to be learning all the time. You know, we're all, I'm a student when I'm in Ethiopia and when I'm amongst Ethiopians, and I'm honoured to be seen.
Thank you, Lemn. Last one question, and when is Lemn more satisfied or fulfilled Is there a moment, or which you could say, I am really satisfied?
I don't know. I don't know when I'm satisfied. I've got to say, when I'm on stage and reading in Ethiopia and I can see all the faces in the audience, it's a beautiful feeling.
Lemn, thank you very much. This is a rare moment, and thank you very much for giving me this moment on the last when we come for dinner. So I really appreciate you for giving me this moment. Thank you. This is the Yoftahe Show, very rare occasion, unplanned interview that I've done with Lemn Sissay. So once again, see you at the next program. This is Yoftahe Show from Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, can I give you this camera? No, not record, just take shots. Different shots, like shots from there as well. And, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, you
so
can
that
take
I
it, yeah.
won't.
So you
Yeah.
get long, think sideways,
Yes.
like
The
long ways,
landscape part. Oh, yeah.
and then you can go to there or wherever. You get the camera in as well.